Coming up on Tekzilla, Veronica's secret tech tool for perfecting indoor horticulture, how to create a photo using lots and lots of tiny photos, your suggestions about using computers to heat your home. Why don't you just rip open a bag of kettle corn, grab a bottle of Palm, and settle into that chair, because Tekzilla starts now. This episode of Tekzilla is made possible by Squarespace, GoDaddy.com, and Gamefly. I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Welcome to Tekzilla, hands-on reviews of the latest tech and how to make the most out of the gear you already own.
Whether you're a beginner or tech support for your friends and family, if you've got a question about the best deal on a PC, speeding up your graphics, Blu-ray discs, the best source of fresh herbs, we've got an answer.
And if you don't, we're going to track down someone who does.
Yeah, I bought you a couple of presents today.
Presents?
By the way. Let's
Yay.
see. What should we start with? Oh, first of all, my soaps from Digital Soaps arrived.
They smell purple.
They do have the scent of purple. This is the PS3 Blackberry
they smell
scented.
like Jolly Ranchers.
The smell is pretty intense, actually. But they're
like
really well done.
Big Jolly Ranchers.
Wow, yeah. This actually made my whole apartment smell, so I decided to bring them in for the Revision 3 family. But they're really awesome. She has an Etsy store at digitalsoaps.etsy.com, I believe is the address, but you'll have to double check that online.
Yep.
Oh, it's right there. Look, I have it memorized.
Digitalsoaps.etsy.com.
I'm good like that, see?
You are.
But they're really cool. She must have made molds out of actual game controllers. There's Xbox controllers, there's PS3 controllers, old school Nintendo ones. We talked about it on a previous episode, but I hadn't yet gotten my actual sample in yet. Well, it's not a sample, I paid for it.
What's a sample?
You can't really call it a sample when you pay money for it. What else do I have here?
Fresh herbs. Hence
Yeah.
our reference in the opening.
Right. Some fresh herbs from my kitchen gardener, which is my giant hydroponic.
It actually works?
Yeah, it works really well. I grew basil. See, I got some basil.
Let me clean up my breath.
Ah, you can eat it right now if you want. See, that's parsley.
I'm saving the basil
Look at
for
the
some
size of this
mozzarella
parsley,
later
it's
on.
beautiful. See? And then we've got there's a little bit of dill in here.
Dill makes me happy.
Dill. And then
Dill
mint.
with carrots.
And then I've got some
garlic.
mint for you. You can eat that if you want to. So delicious. I have a bunch of photos up on my Flickr page of the progression. I haven't taken a photo recently though because they got a little bit wilty because I don't know why really. The cilantro threw everything off. I had cilantro and it just wasn't growing right. It looked like crap and so I didn't take a picture of it for a while. But anyway,
Cilantro is an amazing herb.
those are my
Apparently
gifts
tough
for
to
you.
grow.
I really enjoy gardening, and we'll get to more gardening stuff later in the show. I have a whole review of the Easy Bloom plant scents,
Yes.
which is great for if you have a green thumb in the house, or even outdoors in your outdoor garden
It's
as
been
well.
a crazy week. Like we finally got our hands on the new DSi. I got to spend 3 days with a Lincoln MKS. It's you know what? And you actually
I bought a Kindle.
you bought a Kindle.
I paid for it and everything.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Actually, I'm
I
about
had to
to buy
sell
the one.
part of my kidney to finance it, but you know,
Oh, it's barely a car
you do what you
payment.
can. I mean, you got to make some allowances in life.
You cornered me before and said,
I remember this.
Are you with Firefox or did you guys break up? And I'm like, I'm with Firefox.
You're still with Firefox.
I'm still with Firefox.
Yeah, I'm still with Camino, but I found a really great Firefox add-on that I wanted to
Camino.
tell you about because I thought you would enjoy it. It's called Get Glue. It's all about the network that sticks to you. Instead of logging into like a really specific social network
Right.
like Goodreads for books or Flickster for movies, I don't know if they do TV shows, I think just movies. This is all over the web. It uses
really?
semantic content recognition technology so that when you're on a site that has something like a film or a book, it recognizes that this is an object. This is an object of some kind of media content that you may want to discuss or like or talk about with your friends. So it's kind of hard to explain. You kind of need to see it in action.
Especially with big highfalutin words like semantic.
Semantics, yes. Well, not semantics, semantic. So let's go to Wikipedia. And just as an example, so you don't see anything on your browser normally except for a tiny little glue link there in the corner. All right, so what's your favorite movie?
Things to do in Denver when you're dead.
That was way too much typing. Think of a shorter title. The Reader.
Ew.
Fine. You took too long, so we'll do The Reader. So as you can see, we're at the Reader page right now, and the Get Glue little window has popped up at the top. I guess it's kind of like a frame, which people may or may not like. So if you don't like frames,
well, it's not a particularly obnoxious.
No,
frame.
And it only comes down when you're on a piece of content like this.
So what are we looking at up there?
What you're looking at are the most 50 recent people that have the Get Glue add-on that have looked at the reader, and then you can also see which of your friends have viewed it and what they've said about it. So we can see. Fraser right here has written, deals with complex subjects in a serious way. Beautifully written. This book will stay with me for a long time. And then you can add replies and talk about it. And it's just a really nice way to see what your friends and other people on the net have been looking at. And if you go to something that you don't really want people to know you've been looking at, you can go into your history and delete it right away. That's the one downside that I found, is that if you don't remember that you don't really want to share with the world that, I don't know, maybe you're a super fan of UHF, which is an awesome movie, but maybe you don't want everyone to know that. So you can go back and delete it later in time.
Interesting. Delete it from, well, automatically delete it from all your social networks, or just as a link within Glue?
This has nothing to do with any other social network. This is totally independent of every other network out there. And the point is that you're making connections based on the things you like, not what network you belong to. So you can see up here, these people may not have visited the reader on Wikipedia. Like this woman, for example, viewed it on powells.com. Or maybe someone else saw it on.
Interesting. So it basically looks at your group of friends
or Amazon,
or the particular item, and then how does it? So those are the most recent. Can it do like the most popular or the most referenced, or?
No, it's just mostly the 50 most recent people. You can see what other people have said about it.
So getting your friends involved in this might be really critical if you want to have the most reliable.
Right.
So I still remember, like, one of my favorite things was like looking on Yelp.com. I was like looking for a Bikram yoga studio, and there was this yoga studio, and like the #1 review was like, "This is crap. Yoga should never be done in a hot room. Why is there a wool rug?" And it's like, that's the whole point of Bikram yoga.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or like, I went Indian and it was spicy and that's wrong. And it's like, huh? Because like sometimes you look at it. I always wonder, like when I'm looking at its social review sites, what's out there. So it's cool though. So you link to your. Does it automatically link your friends, or do you have to create the links for it?
What do you mean?
For like it puts your friends up there.
It finds your friends. You have a friends section, and then you have a 50 most random people.
Oh, cool.
People who may not necessarily be your friends, but you could become friends with them if you happen to have a lot in common with that person.
So I don't have to like enter in all my data from all my
you
different
can. You can
sites,
upload from. You can upload from Gmail, a few other like email services, and I think they're going to add Twitter integration with it too, so you can integrate all your Twitter friends.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it's like if you're interested in a lot of content, but you don't want to be pigeonholed into a specific social network, this will cover the whole web. It doesn't matter what website you're looking at; it's the content that matters.
Searching.
Exactly.
Okay, I'll check it out.
So it's pretty neat. Get
I'm
Glue.
in. I will give it a try.
Give it a shot. I just wish they had it for Camino. I know there's not too many add-ons for Camino yet, but what can you do? But we should get to questions now that we're done with my little show and tell session. And our first question of the day comes from Robbie, who has a question about pictures made of pictures.
Hi Patrick and Veronica. I was wondering what those pictures that are made up of thousands of little pictures are called. I was also wondering if there's a website that generates them for you, or do you have to make them manually? Thanks.
Well, Robbie, what you're describing is photographic mosaic, also known as a photo mosaic, which is actually a term that is trademarked by an MIT-educated artist, Robert Silvers.
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of a sort of a pioneer.
He defends that trademark.
So I am told. Well, with a a photographic mosaic, ... Think photographic technique or artistic technique. Not really photographic. Think artistic technique. But instead of, say, a mosaic made of bits of colored tile, a photo is recreated by breaking it into little tiny rectangles, then filling in those little tiny rectangles with little tiny photos that have a similar brightness and color.
Yeah, it's a really cool way to reuse like old photos that you have laying around and create a more engaging photo piece. All you need are the following. One, you'll need a master photo. This is the image you wish to mosaic, of course. Two, you're going to need enough photos to create the tile set that will make up your pieces of your mosaic. Although you can get by with several hundred. If you have like 1,000 or more sitting around, that would probably be even better. Generally, the more photos you can use for the tiles, the better, because you have more to work with.
You have a larger color palette.
Right, right. You can kind of fine-tune, tweak those little sections.
Well, it's like, if you're doing, if you're turning your picture of the Grand Canyon into a picture of the Grand Canyon made of thousands of little pictures of the Grand Canyon, make sure you snapped a lot of pictures of the sky and of the grass and of the color over here, because if all you have is pictures of brown dirt, you can't do the blue with brown dirt.
It could be like a sepia-toned mosaic.
It may well have to be
different shades of brown and tan.
That is certainly one artistic interpretation.
There you go. See?
Oh, just as important, of course, you'll also need the right kinds of photos, depending on where your master or what your master picture is. If you're using a black and white photo, you need a lot of dark as well as light photos. If you're using a photo with a lot of color, did I mention this? You want to be sure you have a lot of color in your photo tiles. Unless you want a really monochromatic kind of image.
Which can look cool, by the way. And finally, you'll need a program to put it all together for you. Now, there are literally dozens of downloadable tools as well as online services that let you create your own photo mosaic. There are 2 great free ones. For PCs, there's Andrea Mosaic.
I like that.
Andrea, I haven't used that one myself. And for Mac users, there's Mac OS X. OS X? Did I say it right?
Mosaic.
Mosaics OS 6. Mac OS X.
That
Mac
clever
OS
Mac
6.
OS naming convention.
Wow, that took me like a really long time to put that whole thing together. Anyway, there's also online Mosaic apps, but from our experience, they can take a bit of time because they have to do all that processing and putting it all together.
Out in the cloud.
Out in the cloud, the Mosaic creating clouds. Yeah, a good one to check out is Mosaicer. God, these names, guys, you don't have to make a clever pun on the word Mosaic for every single app.
It's not about clever puns, it's about running out of URLs.
Anyhow, Mosaicer is a Flickr-based tool. It lets you use public photos available via Flickr as well as your own Flickr photos to generate those mosaics. I've seen a bunch of those out there.
An exciting way to violate somebody else's copyright.
No, but I'm sure they probably only let you use, you can probably specify public ones.
So it's only public ones.
Right.
Okay.
So it would, if it was Creative Commons, you know, non-attribution.
Sorry, there was a big conversation on Twit yesterday about basically copywriting and copywriting photos. And a friend of mine's actually one of his guys.
We'll get to that later, maybe?
Get to that another day.
You'll get a low-res version for free, but if you want a super high-res version using this software, you'll need to pony up 1.5 euros. That's like
probably
a
like
buck.
$3.
$3? Oh, whatever. Yeah, I just got back from there and I still can't convert it in my head. Anyway, if you want to print out a poster Mosaicer, we'll do it for about €1.
Cool.
So let's do one real quick with Mosaic.
Mosaics. Mosaics.
First, we'll select our picture. Select the tiles, aka the photos that will make up the final image. Hit start in about 15 to 20 minutes. Voila.
Yeah, mostly it's about waiting.
It's a lot of time.
Well, it's got to go through, and it's like, I need a bunch of pixels that are approximately this color or this brightness, and it's like, you know what I mean?
And that's a desktop app. I can't imagine how long it would take for one of those cloud programs to work.
Can you imagine how long it would take you to do this manually in Photoshop?
Unbelievable amount of time. An unbelievable amount of time.
Yes. Imagine how long it would take you to do with like bits of broken glass on a wall.
A lot of time, but it would look pretty awesome. Hey, you know what else takes not a lot of time? Sending us in a video question. Just record yourself in front of a camera asking a question no longer than 15 seconds. That's not very much time. Upload that puppy to YouTube and then email us a link to your fabulous video question with video question in the subject line. It's so easy. Try sending us one today.
Still to come, Lincoln's latest drive features air-conditioned seats as well as some well-implemented technology. Hear my first-hand account of actually driving a 21st century automobile. But first,
let's thank one of today's sponsors, Squarespace. Here to tell you more about them is our fabulous intern, Tyler.
Hey Tekzilla viewers, I'm Tyler Howarth, an intern at Revision 3. I'm here to talk about Squarespace, which is hands down my favorite publishing platform on the internets. What I like most about Squarespace is that it's fast and easy to use. It's so easy, you can build a site in 3 simple steps. 1, choose what modules, pages, features you want on your site. 2, pick one of the beautiful templates provided by Squarespace, all made by professional designers. And 3, sit back and relax. Your website's all set up, so just play around, add more content, and enjoy. Congratulations, you just saved a ton of money by not hiring a web designer. Your internet cred just went up 10 points. Now, don't let my 3-step program fool you. There is a whole lot more you can do with Squarespace once you've gotten started. So what are you waiting for? You can try it free right now at squarespace.com, and be sure to use the code TEKZ when you sign up to get 10% off the life of your membership.
Welcome to the Tekzilla Gadget of the Week. A gadget, gear, or piece of technology that we absolutely can't live without. This week's pick, the latest in Nintendo's long line of handheld gaming devices, the DSi. Along with larger and brighter screens, the DSi ditches the GBA slot for a pair of VGA resolution cameras, enhanced Wi-Fi connectivity with WP2 support, a web browser, 256 megabytes of flash RAM, an SD card slot, multimedia support for audio and pictures, and Nintendo's new DSi Shop, an online store where you can buy games or additional software. Nintendo's managed to update and extend the capabilities of the Nintendo DS without screwing up what makes it the most popular handheld gaming device out there, the amazing selection of great games. Unless, of course, you spend a lot of time playing Game Boy Advance cartridges, in which case you won't want to upgrade to the DSi. Any DS fan that updates the DSi can use the, well, feature-limited web browser to catch up online or listen to web-based music services wherever you can connect to a Wi-Fi hotspot. Pictures taken with the onboard camera are saved on an SD card, or you can share them on the Wii's photo channel. Okay, at less than a third of a megapixel, the pictures from the onboard cameras won't be that impressive, and we can't imagine why Nintendo didn't bother to build MP3 support into the DSi. But it's still the handheld gaming platform to beat, and a traveling companion that can keep you sane when you're on a 14-hour flight that has another 7 hours to go.
So Patrick, you had some time with a pretty sick automobile this past week, the Lincoln MKS 2009.
I did, in fact. It's
not your usual car, is it?
No, no, not exactly my usual material for a product review either. But I gotta say, even more thrilled than I was at the chance to drive this were my neighbors. My next door neighbors have recently upgraded to, like, you know, a Touareg and a Mercedes, which is great because they still have the same ratty ass garden, and their you know, house hasn't been painted in the last decade. But they now look at my
cars.
They look at my beat up Subaru with like, well, we have a, you know,
the Mercedes.
I gotta say, the folks next door though must have been thrilled that my beloved '86 Suburban was stashed somewhere else. And I gotta say, going from 2,000 miles in a 23-year-old 4x4 to a brand new sedan is a bit striking, especially the air-conditioned seats, which also had 3 levels of heating. I've decided that I really need AC built into the seats on my truck.
Keeps you from getting that swamp ass.
Swamp ass or sweaty back.
Or sweaty back syndrome.
Or if you already have a sweaty shirt on, it cools the shirt really quickly. But the whole point of Ford loaning Tekzilla a Lincoln for review was not for me to bask in the air-conditioned seats, but was to give us a chance to get hands-on with Ford Sync, which has been out for a while. It's one of the first products we got a chance to review in the first year of the show, and the various other bits in the technology package in the MKS. Unfortunately, our $45,000 test bed, which was otherwise loaded with all-wheel drive, a $3,000 navigation system, the $1,700 dual-panel moonroof, and the $1,400 technology package, did not include something I really wanted to test, the adaptive cruise control. It's a system that uses radar to constantly adjust the car's speed to the vehicle it follows. It's not the new stuff from Volvo that slams on the brakes if you're running towards a wall, but it is designed to slow your vehicle automatically based on preset speeds and distances, which makes cruise control useful in, well, places like the San Francisco Peninsula or the peninsula here at the Bay, where, because there's no, it doesn't matter, 4 a.m., you're in bumper-to-bumper traffic. It's moving faster than it does at 6, but it's still crowded. Ford Sync, which they call an in-car communication and entertainment system, did a great job controlling the navigation and TX-certified surround sound system with the jukebox, the CD, the DVD player via voice commands, though it did a miserable job recognizing my attempts to use the voice commands to dial our very own Roger Chang and other folks, and just an average job on Bluetooth audio quality. I mean, it was great to have, you know, this gigantic THX system functioning as my, you know, speaker for my cell phone.
I kind of understand. Roger Chang's a very hard name to say. I mean, it probably had a lot of trouble recognizing.
Roger Chang and like
all that 3
5,
syllables.
6, 8 other names.
Phone, please say a command.
Call Daniel.
Calling Merritt Tom.
Oh.
You know what? It's every other voice command feature worked flawlessly.
It's interesting. I wonder why the calling was such a problem.
Probably because I speak the way I do. In any case, the rest of the various tech bits worked particularly well, and I'm a particular fan of the keyless ignition. I know it's hardly a luxury feature these days, but there was also things like a nicely hidden USB, aux stereo input, spare power outlet, and while I expected to be seriously annoyed by the parking assist features, which include a forward sensing system as you pull close to a car, it rips loose a beeping noise that gets more intense as you get closer. The rear view camera had a red, yellow, green overlay for parking, which was actually well implemented and very useful for parallel parking given the big, fat, honking C-pillars in the rear of the car. Am I going to spend $45,000 on a Lincoln MKS? No. Am I going to spend more than $20,000 on any car anytime soon? No. But I definitely covet the ridiculously detailed THX2 certified 14-speaker sound system and was very pleased with the head unit's ability to quickly rip and store CDs onto the jukebox, and the audio playback on the ripped CDs was flawless. The navigation system did a good job, even using voice commands to set destinations, which I didn't expect based on my dialing issues.
Right.
You know,
it's not good with names. It happens to all of us. You know, not everyone's good with names.
and I probably. Well, it was funny because it would do things like find me this obscurely named street in San Francisco, but trying to dial, and that may have been an issue with my particular cell phone, perhaps. I don't know. It's an interesting thought. Yeah, the adaptive HID headlights are pretty slick. The setup literally swings the headlight lens or lamp to provide additional coverage in the direction you're turning. Like if you turn the wheel, the headlight swings. It was really nice while driving in the city, where it helped me to avoid a cat.
Oh.
Yes, it saved a cat.
It saved a cat.
Yes, and for the folks
it's
out there,
a car for me.
Saving cats with the
Save-mobile.
Lincoln MKS. And for the folks out there watching that live the luxury car lifestyle, I know this isn't a BMW, Mercedes, or a Lexus, but even Car and Driver found the display and controls in the MKS to be particularly well implemented and easier to use than those in the BMW. And this is a return to the Lincoln of old. I took my driver's test in a fat old Lincoln, and this isn't a fat old Lincoln. It actually drives incredibly well, but it's not a rebadged, overpriced pickup truck standing next to the town car. This is a well-designed, well-implemented vehicle. And I gotta say, anybody that says the 275 horsepower V6 and 6-speed tranny in the Lincoln is gutless needs to spend some quality time in a naturally aspirated Subaru with its tiny little 4-cylinder before firing this thing up.
Geez, you might as well be speaking Latin to me right now. Cars are definitely a dark spot in my knowledge.
By the way,
I just have no idea what you're talking about.
Have you seen the IHS, the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety tests of the smart car?
Yeah, I heard about it.
You're not buying one of those.
Oh.
Have you?
You're worried about me?
Yes. I've been worried about you before I saw those.
I mean, all tiny cars are not great.
All I'm saying is we want more protecting Veronica.
Okay.
That thing bounced like a freaking pinball.
Really? It was that bad? I didn't watch the video. I just read about it.
The video's fascinating. And look, I should also say this.
It's okay because I want the Model S, the Tesla, anyway.
Well, you'll be waiting a while for that.
Save up for my Model S.
Save lots and lots of pennies.
And also save up for the garage that I will need to have in order to plug it in.
In order to keep it from being stolen.
Yeah.
You're not street parking your $50,000.
I guess I better start saving up.
Because if you street park the thing I'm stealing.
Send your contributions to. Just kidding. Don't do that. Coming up next, how a plastic plant can keep your indoor garden from going all yellow and wilty. But first.
Gamefly is the largest online video game rental service and offers you a choice of over 6,000 new and classic titles across all consoles and handhelds. With plans starting at $15.95 a month, Gamefly members can rent 1 to 4 games at a time and keep them for as long as they like. No late fees, no due dates, shipping always free. Once you're done playing a game, send it back and Gamefly will send you the next available game on your list. If you really like the game you're playing, simply click Keep It on the Gamefly website and the game is yours at a discounted price. Gamefly will even mail you the case and manuals free of charge. Plus, Tekzilla fans can get a 2-week free trial. Just go to gamefly.com/Tekzilla. Some restrictions apply. See the site for details. And do us a favor at Tekzilla. Support us by supporting our sponsors, like gamefly.com.
Looks like it's time for another website we just can't get enough of. A website that we just can't stay away from because it's too useful, too funny, or just too darn irresistible. This week's pick, Telegram Stop. We're getting old-timey with this week's choice. Telegram Stop is a site that allows you to create and send, via snail mail of course, your very own personalized telegram. Now, why in the age of free electronic communication would someone want to send a telegram? Many reasons. Not only does Telegram Stop make your correspondence look like it's from a bygone era with artificial aging, but they'll also replace all of your punctuation with stop. I learned on the site that Telegram companies did this because punctuation cost extra, while alphabet letters were free. The main reason to send a telegram is because it's something physical that you can hold on to and cherish, which makes them great for special occasions. All you have to do is type your message, pay $4.70 via PayPal or credit card, and they'll send out your telegram and email you an electronic copy. So if you want to go super retro with your communication, at least once in a while, check out telegramstop.com today. Way back on episode 69 at CES, we took a look at the Easy Bloom plant sensor. I was pretty taken by it, which doesn't happen all that often. We finally got a review unit in, and I've been playing with it for a few weeks now. I'm using it on my little household plants, and I want to share with you guys everything I've learned with this little guy.
That was like a long time ago.
That was a long time. That was back in January.
What does this thing do?
So this thing basically has 3 main functions, and you can use this either indoors or outdoors. It has a recommend mode, so you'll put the plant sensor either in a pot of soil or just out on a sunny perch somewhere in your house. It'll tell you what kind of plants are most optimized for those conditions.
Does it test the soil or look at the sunlight, or?
Well, I think for recommend mode, you would mostly want to be checking out the sunlight.
Okay.
And then you would do monitor mode, which is the other mode to make sure that your soil is correct, you have enough water going on, and then all the sunshine as well. So it checks all of those things. And then finally, the third mode is just regular water mode. And that will tell you how often you need to water your plants.
Oh, cool.
So it'll beep at you over and over if you're not watering your plants enough.
Do you run around and poke it like in watering mode, or how do you actually use it?
So let me get this puppy on here.
Let me get the flower on there.
I think these are just decoration, but they're cute as all get out.
At least once they're on.
There we go. See? So it comes in 2 parts, obviously. This is the sensor apparatus that you plug into the dirt. You have to make sure that it goes all the way down. So if this is the soil line,
do you have to
so
buy
it's
the
under
plug
the dirt
for
like
the
that.
dirt, or you just stick it in the dirt?
Oh no, you just stick it in.
Okay.
You have to make sure the dirt is loose enough and there's no roots in the way, because this is, it's not fragile, but it could snap if you're putting enough force onto it. So then you just put it at the soil line, and then after you've gone online and registered at easybloom.com and got your whole account stuff set up, you tell it if you want it to be in recommend mode, monitor mode, or water mode. Then once you've done that, you plug it into the top here and put it on in your plant. And then for the first 2 modes, for recommend and monitor, you're going to want to leave it in there for a 24-hour period or for a full watering cycle. And so that it gets all the conditions together and then reads you out a report of how your plant is doing in these conditions.
Oh, cool.
So it can say like, oh, this soil is too dry for what plant you're trying to use, or it's not getting enough sunlight, or it's a delicate kind that needs to be in more shady conditions.
So basically, you can either be like, tell me what kind of plant won't die in this light,
Right.
or you can be like, I have a forsythia or a African weasel or whatever it is.
I mean, they've got a really huge library of different plants on there. I think it's over 5,000 types of plants. And the one downside, and I need to look at this a little bit more, I had a hard time finding what plant I had, because I'm not a big green thumb. Like, I don't really know that much about plants. I saved a couple of potted plants from our hallway about a year ago. Some people were moving out and they were getting rid of their plants. I'm like, oh, I'll rescue you. So I carried these huge pots back into the house.
So they could be Norwegian death roses,
yeah, I don't know what the hell they are.
The weeds that grew in the pot after it died.
And so I just put them in the only, the window that had the most light, and put them in the house, and they've done okay. I mean, they've grown. I've had to change the pots a couple times for their burgeoning growth. But there's no way of being like, this is what my plant looks like, tell me what I have.
Right.
And that's something that I would be looking for in the future, hopefully. I have to look through a little bit more. I'm pretty sure they don't have that. So we plug it in. So here's a little rundown of the website. As you can see, Easy Bloom. I'm logged in as myself, of course. Now you can see my plants. I could only identify one of them, so that was kind of a downside. I'm pretty sure it's a spider plant. Clicking on it shows you all the information about that plant, what kind of light it needs,
so if you
how
don't know
tall
what
it
your
can
plant
tend to
is, you
get.
would have consulted a third-party resource.
And I think there are actually websites out there where you can take
are.
a picture of your plant and they'll identify it for you.
Or at least the ones that like, is it the leaves
I could just put it up in the Revision 3
sweet?
forums and eventually someone would figure it out.
That's a Philodicius dedendron. I can't believe you don't know what that is. It's a common garden plant found in Wales.
Exactly. And then it shows you all the different plant care options. Now we can take a look at the plant library. See, 5,000 plus plants. You can take a look at popular plants. You can do a find that plant option, where you can find out a plant that's best suited for your personal individual plant needs.
Is that like based
what
on
what kind of color the flowers are going to be? What kind of when you want it to bloom?
Flowers.
No, you can do that right here. So let's see. All right.
It blooms in June.
Let's say if you want an annual, that gets to be about let's say 12 inches. Is yellow, like you mentioned. You like yellow. Bloom season, do you have a preference?
Summer.
Summer,
I want
okay.
to bloom on my birthday, exactly on my birthday.
A summer bloomer. And now there's special features like fragrant, attracts birds, North American native, attracts birds, okay. Now they actually have horticulturists and botanists that work with the site to fill in the information and to kind of help them keep the library up to date. Now here are some of the ones that you might like. A wishbone flower, ooh, that's pretty. Very, very nice. And now if I wanted to add that plant to my library, I could just push the button there, and then I could see if there's an area in my house that would be good for that one.
See, it seems like there's a button missing from that page.
And what's that button?
The one you were talking about earlier. Now I completely
The what the hell
understand.
is my plant?
No, the box up a flat of these and ship them to my house button.
Oh, like a buy this plant now button.
I want it. I can has. Where's the I can has
Maybe
this
you
plant
could do that.
button?
I don't know. That would be an interesting moneymaker for them. They could team up with, like, I don't know. I want to say 1-800-Flowers, but they're already, most of them are dead and cut up by the time they get to you.
Maybe you can't
They
actually
do have bulbs, though. I think
ship
you can get
flowers
bulbs.
like that.
No, I think you can. You can buy plants online. No,
Never
you really
tried.
can. That's a great idea for them.
I'm not doubting it. I'm just like, I never really thought about.
Well, to any extent, there's a wealth of information on here about all different sorts of plants, and this is the puppy that's going to help you make sure they don't die. Like I said, there's some upsides. It's good for new plant owners. For example, people who are trying to feel their way into this new hobby.
Or those with the black thumb.
The black thumb of death. I'm trying to stay away from that. And the downsides, though, is that your dirt has to be pretty dense, especially for the water mode, because I plugged mine in and it just kept beeping at me continuously.
Really?
Even after I'd watered it near the sensor and like
after you
practically
drowned
flooded
your
the
plant.
poor thing, it just kept beeping. So that was probably
Loose,
PEBCAF.
loamy soil.
Problem exists between user and flower. PEBCAF. It's a PEBCAF issue. And also, do we really need gadgets to help us connect with nature? Do we?
I don't know if we need gadgets to help us connect with nature, but I've seen, I myself have overwatered plants, usually more so than underwatering plants. I can remember there's like
You just have
gadgets.
so much love to give. You smother them with your water love. Anyway, maybe we should move on.
There's still more to come, including your viewer questions. But before we do that, let's take a moment to thank one of our sponsors. GoDaddy.com. If you want to make an impact online, GoDaddy.com has what you need. .com names start as low as $1.99. Plus world-class hosting, fast and easy website builders, and quite a bit more. Your website visitors, prospects, and customers are wary of websites and online businesses that aren't what they claim to be, and worried that their personal and financial information might fall into the wrong hands. Turn your visitors' concerns into a competitive advantage with the ironclad protection of a GoDaddy.com secure certificate. Want to score a discount? Entering code TEK4, that's TEK4 when you check out. You'll save an additional 15% off on any order of $75 or more. Some restrictions apply. See the site for details. Do us a favor here at Tekzilla. Get your piece of the internet at GoDaddy.com and support us by using that code TEK4, TEK4 when you do.
Brain Tonic is the world's first think drink. It has 0 caffeine and 0 processed sugar, but it's quite effective for increasing mental clarity. The mental focus comes from 2 herbs and 2 natural compounds, and it's sweetened only with organic agave nectar. Place an order of Brain Tonic online at braintonic.com. That's tonic with a Q, and use the coupon code R3 for a discount on your order. With so many of our toys connected to wall outlets, Paul up in New Hampshire asks a very interesting question. He writes, I wanted to hear your take on whether or not surge protectors are really worth it. Are they telling the truth? Are my electronics really in danger from the normal everyday dips and spikes in power? Paul in Nashua, New Hampshire. Lovely area, by the way. Lovely.
Very pretty up there. Well, you know, the normal everyday dips and spikes aren't a particularly big problem. It's the big honking spikes that are a problem. And we should probably clear up what a surge protector does. They're designed to protect electrical devices from voltage spikes, i.e. a whole big honking chunk of voltage storming through the power lines and into your favorite computer, television, stove, microwave.
What would cause that, for example?
My favorite example, my friend Josh, they apparently had an apprentice working at the local transformer and who put cable A into slot C instead of slot B.
No good.
Blew out almost every piece, basically blew out every electrical device on a fair chunk of a city block. Oh. It took out Josh's television, his computer, his Apple IIc, his microwave. I believe it took out his stove and refrigerator and all of the light bulbs in the house.
It just fried everything.
Everything.
So did he not have anything connected to a surge protector,
Apparently
or did it like
not.
bypass
My
that?
understanding is, in theory, right? If you have a, if a lightning strike, in theory, right? If a lightning strike hits like your power line going into your house, in theory, you've got bigger issues than whether or not your computer gets fried. But in theory, right, that the voltage would be so high it could jump. Basically, what happens is a fusible link, right? And power spike comes along, and the link goes, ah! and it disintegrates, and it blocks, basically ends the connection between the source of power at the wall and whatever's connected to the surge protector. So unless there's a voltage so high it can leap over that link, in which case it's probably already melted all the copper out in the rest of your house and you don't really have anything to worry about. I'm exaggerating slightly, but the short answer is yes, actually. They either short the ground or they block the voltage, and they do a pretty good job of it.
So they are something that is good to have around the house and good to have your electronics plugged into.
I believe every power strip in your house attached to electronics of any value should have a surge protector in between those electronics and the wall.
Now this does not necessarily mean you need one of those big frickin' like $100 surge protectors from some certain companies.
But I would also say don't buy, like, you know, I recently...
Middle ground? Is there a happy middle ground?
Don't buy cheap, no-brand stuff. I would also say dodge, like, if IKEA makes a surge protector, and nothing against IKEA right now. I just bought a bunch of furniture from IKEA. I'm loving what they're doing with hiding cords for charging devices. We can talk about that next week if you want. I took lots of pictures. But don't buy a cheap, no-brand. I would honestly say buy a brand you know and trust. Because if it fails, you can wipe out everything, you know. So, and they're not UPSs. They're not going to keep your computer running in a power failure, and they're not going to protect your devices during a brownout. Basically, your stuff's probably going to shut up.
They do exactly what they say they do.
Yeah.
Protected from surges.
Yeah. Are you going to get the $14,000 thing that they promise? Probably not. But if they're willing to promise that, they're probably going to keep your electronics from frying.
All right. Well, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
It's good to know. I have plenty of surge protectors at home, but maybe not enough at this point.
Well, you should. Well, just think about it this way: if it's expensive and you don't want to buy it again, put a surge protector on it.
Now, last show we had a question from Jeb about reusing his old PCs as space heaters for his back room. We asked you guys, our loyal viewers, on any ideas you might have for Jeb. Here are some of the suggestions that many of you sent in. Fishtop Records in the forums, who always has something interesting to say, wrote, "It's just arithmetic. Each watt is defined as 3.41 BTU. So running a 1,000-watt power supply will generate 3,410 BTUs of heat. A typical house furnace that is installed in the Washington, D.C. area will have a 140 kBTU rating. Note, this is a lot of watts, 41,000 watts, which is why electric heating systems are all 240 volts and use big breakers and fat wire."
Fishtop Records and we go way back, way back. And I want to question whether or not a 1,000-watt power supply gets completely turned into heat energy, because you don't waste all of your electrical energy as heat.
Right.
But beyond that, should be a good wattage calculation out there. But I'm not sure every.
So you're questioning his math.
I'm questioning I'm questioning the efficiency, because I don't think all of the 1,000 watts. If you were, I don't think all of the 1,000 watts gets turned into heat. Right. That's my concern.
There's got to be some loss somewhere.
Well, some of the electricity actually is used as electricity in your computer and not dissipated into heat.
Not all of it's heat, or else we'd have some very hot offices around here.
Yes, we did. Dom wrote in with this suggestion: computers work awesomely as heaters. Last year in the middle of the winter, I had 2 of my mates over for some LAN action, and my bedroom was toasty warm. From memory, it was about 5 degrees Celsius in the next room. We would have had 3 computers running flat out plus 1 idle, and we were sweating. My tips would be not to remove the fans, as you want that heat in the air not melting your CPU. The air will recirculate and continue to heat up nicely. Also run something intense on them to keep that temp up. Folding it home would be a useful way of doing it if the computer is fast enough to get the tasks done in time.
Yeah, I would recommend as alternatives World of Warcraft, Crisis perhaps.
Probably World of Warcraft.
Probably a little more.
Is that going to be your new excuse for running World of Warcraft?
Yeah, I'm just trying to heat my house.
My
office is really cold, so I have to play a lot of WoW. There's a lot of other games that you could do. I mean, you stick a couple of PS3s in there and it would, well, the PS3s aren't as, well, any console really is going to get pretty toasty warm. Xbox 360 is getting nice and warm,
especially if you have a well-insulated room.
Yeah, if you get enough gaming PCs and consoles in there, you'd be good to go, man. Denny, an HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning student, I kid you not, wrote in, "I'm going to school for HVAC. Basically, to answer Jeb from Washington's question, 1 watt equals 3.413 BTUs of heat. Wattage literally is heat in electrical form. So if you had 1,800 watts worth of computing in a room, it would create the same amount of heat as an 1,800 watt heater. The best he could do would be to put a small fan from Walmart next to the heater and recycle the computers."
Interesting thoughts.
Yeah, recycle, not cycle.
Apparently, I had no idea that all of the electrical energy would turn into heat. I'm fascinated.
So we have conflicting.
No, actually,
reports?
he
They were on the
agrees with
same?
Fishtop.
They do
They're
agree.
both saying it's, you know,
So you're the conflicting
wattage.
report.
I just didn't think all of your wattage turned into heat.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Finally, we got this email from Yatin. Yatin wrote, I was looking into this a little while back, and here are my thoughts. Just leaving the computers on would generate relatively little heat, so I use the folding at home client on both the GPU and CPU to make them nice and toasty. It also contributes to research to help finding cures for various diseases. The next step would be to add water cooling kits and then wire it up to the radiators and plumbing system in the house. He took it that next step, and you were right about the folding at home. It's a great idea.
Well, it burns a lot of electricity.
Yeah.
Generates a lot of heat.
Well, that is pretty freaking awesome. There you go, Jeb. The consensus seems to be on running folding at home or another CPU or GPU intensive application to get the PCs all nice and thermally.
Although the HVAC professional in training basically suggested, you know, getting a fan on its existing.
Yeah, you just might want to
put on a sweatshirt.
See, but he'd have to buy a fan. He already has all these computers.
Who's paying his electrical bill?
I don't know. That's not our problem. It's not our problem. That's why we posted this question in the first place. Keep those fans blowing, and you should be able to heat that little room up in no time. And like we said, use folding at home, because that will help you not only find cures for diseases, but keep your electrical bill nice and pumped up.
Might want to, you know, insulate the window with that plastic stuff they sell at the hardware store.
Yeah.
Put on a sweatshirt.
That might be a good idea.
For everybody out there watching, we live in your questions, even the ones that seem a little edgy. So email us, tekzilla@revision3.com. Tech help, product reviews, how-tos. You ask us, we'll do it, but we need your emails. So don't be shy. Send them in to tekzilla@revision3.com.
Even better, send us in a video question. Think of all the fun you can have and the admiration of all your friends and family when they see your mug on our show. Just keep it to 15 seconds, upload it to YouTube, and send us the link in an email with video question in the subject line. And as always, of course, you can visit our forums at revision3.com/forum. Share your thoughts, ideas, or comments with other fans of the show, and some of us that hang out in there, unlike Roger, who don't. But hey, be sure to check out the latest episode of The Dig Reel, episode 67. Andrew paid a visit to the Mythbusters headquarters, yes, across the bay, and it was totally awesome. They talked with Jamie about the video where they flattened a car with a rocket, and lots more behind the scenes goodness. You can find it at revision3.com/digreel, and check it out. More episodes every Monday. And hey, I wanted to thank Ben over at I Can Has Cheeseburger for sending me this wonderful Loris shirt. He says, has you seen my bucket? Thank you guys so much for watching.
I'm Patrick Norton.
I'm Veronica Belmont.
Till next time, you've been watching Tekzilla, soon to be a lolcat.
I Can Has Tekzilla.
Cool shit. Still rolling.
I'm fired up. I'm leaning into it, and I'm like, come on, come on. In 3, 2.
I fear for my life.
I would never hurt
Not
you.
really. I'm just joking.
Here, practice playing quarters. It'll be good for you.
Yeah.
In 3, 2. GameFly is the largest online video game rent.
Sorry. You told me today with the cord. I am? Am I sweaty? Do I need powder?
I'm just glowing.
I'm using self-tanner every morning. It's better than fake and bake, but
Get glue.
and it's you got a little bit of basil on your lip. You
Excuse
good?
me.
You're good. You're good. So it's called Get Glue, and it's kind
But
of
my breath smells fantastic.
oh, it smells minty fresh and basil-y, minty fresh with basil-y goodness.
Actually, parsley.
Parsley.
Yeah.
Okay, you didn't eat any of the basil. Oh, you still got some basil in your mouth.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Guys, it's like the
The
herbs that
basil of
won't
doom.
quit. You still got it.
I'll
It's
be
right in
right
the middle
back.
of your tooth. Your mama.
Wow, that was uncalled for.
Oh no, she called me last night. It was definitely called for. She called me up. She's like, yo, girl, you coming over? I was like, sure. Your mom is hot.
Whatever.
She's hot.
Gonna be that way, huh, Veronica?
has you seen my bucket? I got my GPS phone and my telescope. Oh, it's funny cause the bucket's on my head. The bucket's on my head. That's where the bucket went. It's on my head. It's on my head. I can't find the bucket cause it's on my head.